p.m. This is a public meeting under Hawaii Sunshine Law, which we are conducting in person as well as Zoom, and this meeting is being recorded. To start the meeting and to document the minutes, I will ask members to introduce themselves with their name and organization. And for those members remote, note that the chat box has been disabled, so it's important to identify yourself and your organization if applicable. My name is Bill Kunzman. I am the Deputy Director of the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, and I am the Director of Labor's designee as co-chair of the board. So perhaps if we can start with Zoom, I could ask Ms. Creed to introduce herself.
I am Barbara Creed, member of the Board of Trustees representing employee interests.
Okay, thank you. And then from in our East Coast, we also have somebody from Georgetown on Zoom.
Hi, it's Angela Antonelli, Executive Director of the Center for Retirement Initiatives.
Good evening and thank you. And from the Director's Office, we also have both David Rodriguez and Kristen Lee.
Aloha, David Rodriguez, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations.
Kristen Lee, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations.
And then we also have on Zoom Grace Sullivan.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm a member of the public. I'm with the law firm Davis and Harmon in Washington, D.C.
And I note that we also have Kaylee Lopez from AARP.
Aloha, aloha everyone. Thank you. Yes, Kelly Lopez from AARP Hawaii.
Thank you.
Aloha, Jesse Kilamakalani Dean. I represent the small businesses of the state of Hawaii.
John Yasutala, board member representing employer interests.
Andrew Nomura, member of the board. I'm not sure who I represent.
Thank you. And then do we have anybody else from the public who'd like to introduce themselves?
Audrey Sugandal from AARP.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. Just would like to note off the bat that we did have some communications with the Office of Information. Suggestions about some of the items on our agenda today based on the OIP law chapter 92. And then on the agenda, there wasn't sufficient specificity on those agenda items. Don't have any agenda items.
Bill, my apologies. The audio, your audio or the audio from the room is really difficult for people to hear. It's cutting in and out and a little bit robotic.
Okay, no, let me try another mic. Hello, is it seem to work better?
I don't think so. Try again, Bill.
How does it sound?
Those few words were fine. You want to start to repeat? You said OIP had some concerns.
Okay, let me go back and repeat then. The Office of Information Practices communicated to us that there were some agenda items on our agenda today that did not include sufficient detail that would allow a member of the public to consider whether or not to provide written or verbal testimony on those items, and suggested that we not have a discussion on those items. First of all, is the audio okay now? You folks, for everybody?
The volume is fine, but you were fine until the last few words, and then all of a sudden it was fuzzy again. Or as a Kaylee said, more electronic.
Okay,
The
we-
microphones that were used, the microphone that was used to pass around for the introductions on the other side of the table seemed to be clearer. I don't know if that's the microphone you were using or not.
okay, that's the microphone I'm currently using, so.
All right, why don't you keep going and we'll see.
Okay, try again. How does this one sound?
So far, it's fine. We'll let you know if that changes.
Okay, yes, please, if anybody can please let us know. And before I continue on, I'd like to allow another member of the board to introduce themselves.
Representing the Senate.
Okay, that's the microphone that doesn't seem to work. That was incomprehensible.
Aloha, I'm Sharon Moriwaki, representing the Senate on the board. Thank you. Can you hear me, Barbara?
Yes, thanks. That was clear.
Okay, thank you, Senator Moriwaki. How does this sound, everyone?
So far, fine.
Okay, this is the original mic I was using. Since the other mic seems to be working fine, we'll try to proceed with these two. So going back to the communication we had from OIP, they were suggesting that agenda items 5, 6, and 7 didn't provide sufficient detail in order for people to consider whether or not to. Additionally, 8 also did not provide any specific item discussion. And based on a main phone number of the public, as opposed to just the OIP's analysis of it. So with an abundance of caution, my suggestion is that we not discuss those items at this meeting and publish another agenda with the sufficient
I'm sorry, we lost, I think we lost audio.
oh no, is it on?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
So just my question is, what did OIP recommend that we do? Because these look like they're start of discussion points and not any decision making. So do you have anything more specific? The feasibility study, which seems to be something we'll be discussing.
Yeah, so maybe I could ask Michael to address what their feedback was.
So based on past OIP opinions, the basic standard is there has to be sufficient detail and specificity to allow a member of the public to understand what the board intends to consider at the meeting and to decide whether to attend and to participate through oral or written testimony. So what the OIP is saying for items 5, 6, and 7, it wasn't sufficient enough. We're not sure about 8, but they're telling us that 8 was insufficient. And I think the main concern is HRS 9213 penalties. So it says any person who willfully violates the provisions of this part.
Sorry, Michael's breaking up. And now we can't hear anything.
Can you try to give you this mic?
So OIP has stated that in their opinion, agenda items 5, 6, 7, and 8 are insufficient. So I think, like Bill said, what is a caution?
The sound is off again entirely.
We didn't hear you after abundance of caution.
Can you hear this? Barbara? No. Hello? Hey, Barbara, can you hear this? Can you hear me?
Now I hear you, yes. There are two separate problems, I think, with sound. One is when it's all very garbled. We literally can't tell what's being said, but the other is it goes totally silent, as if all sound on the Zoom is cut off. No, if this continues, I don't know if it's best that, I mean, I don't know if it's a public meeting and it's been noticed for Zoom. I assume we have to either do it with Zoom or not at all. Is that right?
That's correct.
My question is, not so much sunshine law, because that's kind of what the law is, but a feasibility study, how do we ever get to a point where we would have the specifics? Because part of the discussion is what should be in the feasibility study. So it seems that we can't move if we can't even discuss what should be in the feasibility study for a permitted interaction group. So it seems a little overly cautious for us to do any work at all. So, if we can get clarification on that.
Yes, so Bill and I had some conversation about the feasibility study. I think the idea is to stay within what the statute provides. And the statute does provide a little bit of detail on what you're authorized to do as far as feasibility is concerned. I think that is sort of mirror the statutory language. Provide a little bit more detail that was satisfying more
Okay, can we hold on a second? You folks on Zoom are restarting these with the
Sorry, that was
Garbled.
Can you hear me, or is it the person on the other microphone talking?
I mean, your voice is louder, but it was fine for that one sentence, but it was garbled when Kaylee and I said garbled. So it's not just a microphone. I think there's got to be a problem with the entire Zoom connection.
Yeah. Or that culture feedback.
Interference.
Try to figure out.
Yeah. Can go on.
Right.
Yeah, you can. Until you get everybody.
Everybody has access to the
Yeah. What is the provision? Can we recess and then come back in?
I think that there is, because if you don't read that.
Disconnect and then.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna try to do here is we're going to reset the meeting at 1:17 and come back at 1:30 to see if we can resolve the technical issues on our end.
Okay, that was really garbled. That sound, you want us to get off and then come back on?
And
Sorry, couldn't hear that.
Pursuant to 92-3.17, the meeting can be recessed for up to 30 minutes to restore communications.
I couldn't hear that. Couldn't understand.
we're going to reset until 1:30.
Okay, so we'll sign back on at 1:30, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry.